All right, well, welcome back to another episode of Trophy Moments and a few firsts with me, Keith Baldwin. And I've got a very special guest today with me that I had to have her on because she's one of my favorite people. I just told her this because of her enthusiasm and because of her passion for what she does. And once you hear her, I think you'll join me. And it's Jane Golden from the Mural Arts Program of Philadelphia. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you so much. It's really an honor to be here, and it's great to see you.
It's great to see you. So I've got some people may know who you are, or the Mural Arts Program is, some don't. So real quick, how did it start? I think I know this as the Anti-Graffiti Network. So how did you get to become the icon that you are?
I'm very modest. Well, I think, I started working in Philadelphia for the Anti-Graffiti Network in 1985. I was hired by Wilson Good and Tim Spencer to run a little art program for this anti-graffiti endeavor. And over the years, I got to see firsthand the amazing amount of talent young people have that was just going unrecognized. And
so you were taking graffiti artists off the street.
Yes.
Who were defaming property, but had talent.
Exactly. And the whole idea with anti-graffiti was to try to rechannel the negative energy of graffiti writers to something positive and, in effect, clean up the city of Philadelphia. So it was really quite a brilliant idea that Wilson Good had. He was like, look, we can just go out and clean walls, but then they get re-graffitied. If you change behavior, you're getting to the root of the problem. And so when I was hired, I think they weren't really sure
what
I would be doing.
Where did they hire you from?
Well, I went to college in California. I went to Stanford. I moved to L.A. I started doing murals there, but I was an artist who thought I'd go to law school. So I was like, art law.
So you're a mural artist yourself.
I am. And so
I did not know that.
started painting when I was very young. My mom was an artist. My dad was a businessman who liked the arts. So after I graduated from college, I moved to LA and I saw these amazing murals. And I decided, I'd love to do a mural because I think murals are a wonderful way to make art available to everybody. So I applied. I was turned down, but I'm really a pest. I'm very tenacious. I called the city of LA for months. I wore them down. And eventually I got a call. They said, oh, we hope we never hear from you again, but you have this grant. And the grant was like $300 to do this giant wall. I'd never done a mural before.
What was your first mural?
It was an image of the old Ocean Park Pier in the city of Santa Monica. So it reminded me a lot because I grew up in Margate, New Jersey, right by the beach. And so it reminded me of the Jersey Shore, this pier. But the pier had been torn down and everyone really missed it. So I'm like, through public art, we can recreate it. So I did this mural. Oh, and here's a funny story. So when I finished the mural, I was like, so proud because I'd never done a mural before. And so people said, you've got to dedicate this mural. Get someone famous to dedicate it. So I'm like, I'm 22 from New Jersey. I don't know anyone famous. So they said, Jane Fonda lives down the street. I said, oh, wow, I'll go see her. So I walk down the street. I'm totally covered in paint. I knock on the door and she answers. And she said, hi. I said, oh, hi, I'm Jane Golden. She goes, I know who you are. I'm like, you do? And she said, I watched you out there painting. You and those other young women moving scaffolding. She goes, I'm so impressed. I said, great. I said, would you like to cut the ribbon at our mural dedication? And she goes, yes. Is there anything else I can do? And I joke with my colleagues. I'm like, well, now I would ask for a donation. But then I said, you can bring friends. Because I figured she had a lot of friends. So she did. And it was like hundreds of people came to this dedication. And then I'm like, I love painting murals. And then I painted one mural after the next. Then I started working with kids on probation. Then I got really sick. I have lupus. I was told I wouldn't live very long. It was a terrible part of my life. So I came back to be with my family in Margate. But then I was coming up to Hahnemann Hospital for treatments when I read about there was a new mayor in Philly who was starting this anti-graffiti network. And in an article, it said, Wilson Good is going to have an art component because it occurs to him that the graffiti writers love art. I said, that could be my job. So I applied. And 2 weeks after I sent a letter, I got a call from the mayor's office, Oliver Franklin, head of arts and culture. And he said, I know your first boss in LA. And I said, oh no, what did she say about me? He said, she said, Jane Golden will drive you crazy, but you should 100% hire her. I was like, whew. So then I go to Philly and then I was interviewed for this job and I got hired at $12,500 a year. I didn't have a desk.
What year is this?
This is 1985.
85.
And I didn't have a desk. That was so strange. I was like, fine, I'm very flexible, no desk. They gave me an undercover police car that was completely dented. When you beeped the horn, the trunk flew open. It was so strange. They gave me bad paint, beige paint. But it was like, oh my God, this is the best job ever. I started to meet these graffiti writers writers who had talent. We went out into neighborhoods. We met block captains, community leaders, and then started to deliver art as a city service. What about that? It was revolutionary. And I did that for 10 years. And then anti-graffiti closed down. And then
I remember that.
Remember? And then I applied to law school. I got in. My brother's a lawyer. He said, don't go to law school. You should work for the city and run an art program. I'm like, well, there isn't one. He goes, well, go start one. Talk to Ed Rendell. So I went to see Ed Rendell, and I said, this is my dream. I'd love to have a community-based public art program. And he said, okay. And I was like, I almost fainted. And then he said, where do you want to be in city government? I said, the Department of Recreation, because I knew Mike DeBerardinis, and he was so visionary. Mm-hmm. So he said, come up with a name. So there were only 5 of us left because there had been all these budget cuts at the end of anti-graffiti. So we said, what should we call ourselves? The Mural Arts Program. So he goes, Jane Golden, you're in charge. I'm like, I've never been in charge of anything. And it was like we had this tiny budget of $100,000. We go see Mike DeBerardinis, and he goes, oh, we don't have any room for you. So I go, what is up with me? I never get a desk. So then he goes, but you can have the whole 5th floor. I'm like, an empty floor? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, that's awesome. We're artists. We love that. Yep. So we took over this floor. We started working with emerging and established artists. We started working with all kids, not just graffiti writers. And I'm telling you, in some way, we never look back.
Now you understand why I love her? Isn't it contagious? Don't you just feel the energy? So you didn't look back. How many murals are there today?
As of today, we have over 4,300 murals that have been created since 1985. We have the largest collection of public art of any city, I think, in the world. And it's really amazing because every year we're still, we continue to create new work. Last year was 137 murals. That's indoor and outdoor, but we also do other works of public art. We work with poets and theater artists and writers. We work in mosaic and fresco and glass.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we are busy bees.
Yeah. So what's your favorite mural?
Oh, that's such a great question.
I know it's like asking somebody, what's your favorite grandchild or child?
Well, I'll tell you what my favorite newest mural is, and then sentimentally what my favorite mural is. So sentimentally, and just because I think it's a gorgeous mural, Meg Saligman's Common Threads at Broad and Spring Garden is so important. Yes. It was painted in 1998, and I think what happened is it just made people feel like, oh my God, murals are incredible. Like, I think when we were the Anti-Graffiti Network, people liked our work, but that mural made people fall in love with the work. And also because young people worked on that, and Meg inspired a generation of people who now are doing murals. Some of them have become famous, and she's become very well known. And then a recent one done about a year and a half ago is at 11th and Sansom by a very famous artist named Amy Sherald. It's an 8-story figure of a young woman. And the way this young woman is looking out over the city, it's very powerful. And also, we have a huge art education program. We serve over 2,000 kids, ranging in age between 11 and 18. And one of the programs we work with is for kids aging out of foster care. And so we worked with kids in that program. And this young woman in the mural is one of the kids from the program. And the process united her with her mom. And it had such a healing effect on all the kids who worked on it. The artist invited all the kids. We took 100 kids to her studio in Hoboken. They met curators, museum people, famous artists who look like them, quite frankly. And so it was a very powerful project.
Wow. Well, you know that I have my favorite, which is David McShane.
Yay!
Because he did both of our murals. We've got a City of Champions mural in the Northeast Philadelphia.
And it's wonderful.
And we've got a Super Bowl mural, and we're hoping for more murals to add as we win championships.
That's right, and we are ready to go. So we are just waiting, and we are here. But the other thing that we do, we work with the sports teams in town, and they're very generous. And with the Eagles, we transform a school every single year.
It's a playground or a school?
It's a playground and the school.
Right.
We do murals inside, outside. We provide programming, and then the Eagles come and they lay down AstroTurf and they build a playground. And then the whole team comes and they sign autographs. And for the kids, they feel like the principal feels like they won the lottery, and kids, they just become airbound. They're so excited when the buses pull up and the Eagles start coming off the bus. I mean, I start jumping up and down. I'm like, it's the Eagles! It's the Eagles! Yeah, I love our sports murals. It's great.
And I were saying before we went on air, could you have ever imagined where you are now with this program, the influence that you've had in this city? Like I said to you, I was in Italy, and I had a guide, and my guide was a mural artist. And of course, I started asking him, and he says, "Where are you from?" I said, "Philadelphia." I mean, he clicked immediately. He knew. He said, "Oh, Philadelphia. That's the place of murals." And you're internationally known. I've been to different places, and I tell them, "Oh, I got a mural," and they say, "Oh, Philadelphia." And they know Philadelphia because of their public art and the mural, and it's because of your vision.
That's so nice to hear. That is really exciting. I mean, to me, it's really powerful that we're known internationally as the city of murals. I love this city, and so I think
know
it's
you do.
wonderful that we have a collection of work that represents and resonates with the citizens who live here. This is not art that is parachuted down from the sky. And we have all these major departments where we're working
It's so
with people.
diverse.
It's so diverse. I mean, honestly, it's like the autobiography of the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we have a Mural Arts Institute where we're working with cities around the country and the world. We just started something in Athens,
just go
Greece.
teach them
Mhm.
your program?
Exactly.
And now, do you travel to go teach them?
Sometimes. Well, I've been.
Or do they come here to learn?
It's both. We have people coming here for workshops, and then we go to other places.
So now, take yourself forward. Where do you see the vision of this going?
Well, I have a big vision. I would really.
I didn't know that, but I know that.
First of all, I believe very deeply that every young person should have access to art education. And while I'm proud we serve 2,000 kids, our vision is to add to that, double it, triple it, because we want to make sure that young people, that their voice is heard and that they're learning a lot of skills, and that we want them to believe in themselves, that they can have an idea, and we're going to help them bring it to fruition. The next thing is we work in prisons and with people coming home. Our recidivism rate is very low. Why is that? Because art has power. People are working on things that they start to feel proud of because they're hearing this constant feedback. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are transforming recreation centers in the city. So as people change internally, they're changing the built environment of the city. In the behavioral health system, we're working with kids who are grappling with deep trauma, mental health issues. We're working with people who are homeless and facing housing insecurity. We're working with veterans dealing with PTSD. We're working in new immigrant communities. I mean, honestly, the sky is the limit. Art is useful, and it can be put to work on behalf of citizens across the city, and every issue that is on the desk of the mayor and city council and department heads, those are issues that we should be thinking of. So we can think about beauty and aspiration, and we should also think practically, what does Philadelphia need, and how do we respond to it?
So what's the roadblock to that vision?
Funding. funding.
So how can we help you?
Okay, well, we are the best leveragers around. We match city dollars with private dollars. So we stretch dollars as far as it can go, and when we think we've gone far, we go further. And so we would just want people, though this is really helpful, to spread the word that we are a city agency, but a nonprofit. The city only provides us with 35% of our total budget. So we raise money from foundations, corporations, individuals, and a little bit of earned income, because we all have to be resourceful and creative as it relates to how we generate income so we can do good work to change the city for the better. Yay! Because that's what we want.
I'm a born and raised Philadelphian, and I'm a fan of Philadelphia, and I'm just so appreciative of all that you do.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm going to pivot a little bit to the topic, which is trophy moment, and a few firsts. So in your life, and I know you've done so many different things, what was the trophy moment of your life? What was the thing that either you were awarded, recognized for, received, that had an impact on you?
Well, I hadn't been at Mural Arts that long when I got a call from the Philadelphia Award Committee that I had co-won it with Anne Dardencourt, who ran the Philadelphia Museum of Art, who was such an esteemed citizen. And I actually said to them, "I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number." And they said, "Is this Jane Golden from the Mural Arts program?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they said, No, we have the right number then. And I remember it being like a moment of a lifetime. And I just remember the award ceremony was at the Museum of Art. And I had such admiration for Anne Dardencourt. And I looked out at this audience of the most esteemed citizens in our city, most of whom I had really never crossed paths with. And I thought, how could this be my life? This is so
How did I get here?
Unbelievable. Yeah, it was so validating. And, it was working in anti-graffiti was complicated. And a lot of public art people in the city were like, "Oh, you're working with kids. It's not great art." I mean, there were a lot of hard knocks. And yet I felt in my heart, this was the right thing to do. I believed in the talent of young people. I believed in the backbone and heart and soul of our city. And it was like, we are not going to stop for anything. And then to be in front of this vast audience of people who are change makers in our city and have them acknowledge this work was, I don't know, I think back on it now, it sort of gives me chills when I remember that moment. And then there's one
Gave
other.
you validation.
It validated, yes.
And it gave you, I guess, confidence.
It gave me
to move
confidence.
forward.
That's right.
And what was the award?
And it was,
And who
each of
awarded
us,
it?
well, each of us got $25,000, and it was a medal. I got a medal.
Uh-huh.
So the medal's on my mantle to this day. I think it was the head of the Philadelphia Award Committee. In fact, it was Dick Smoot. I remember he was the chair, I think, of PNC Bank. And it was just, my parents were there. My brother was there. And I just remember
and they were so proud of you.
Yeah, they were so proud. And I remember that, I think Ed Rendell was the mayor. I remember when he got up and he spoke, and it was so eloquent what he said. It was, and to be with Ann Darnancourt too, it was just humbling, the whole thing.
I cut you off. You said.
Oh, no,
that
I
in
was
a
going to say
second.
there was another moment
Yes.
for me.
What was the other moment?
We did a project in the state prison where we've been working for 20 years, where we have a great art classroom. And we did a project with crime victims and victims advocates. It was a very, very difficult project. And people started to relate to each other about how we can all make Philadelphia a better city for the neighborhoods when people painted together. So in the prison, people painted together. And in churches, we worked with neighborhoods that had been decimated by years of crime and violence. And we worked at our office. And when we had the dedication, and it was such a hard project, but when we had the dedication, I saw people like hugging each other and talking to each other who felt they were at opposite sides of the issue. And yet I felt the power of art to both shine a light on our distinctions and underscore and shine a light on our commonality and humanity. And not many things can do that, but art can unify us. And I saw it at that moment.
Can you take your artist over to the Gaza Strip?
I know the world needs it now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
really. So that's impactful.
Mm-hmm.
How many years ago was that?
We did it in 2006 and 2007. It was a 2-year project.
And then how was the award ceremony at the museum? How many years ago was that?
That was, believe it or not, that was in 2004.
2004.
So I hadn't really been doing it that long. And it was just, that's why when I was so stunned. But it was really, and I think it gave me, you said it gave me the confidence and the strength to keep going and to understand that.
I'm not crazy.
Right. I'm not crazy. These ideas aren't random. I'm on the right track. It also made me extra persistent. So if people tell me no, just everybody who's listening, be warned. If you tell me no, I'm going around you. I'm going left. I'm going right.
That's why I love you. Like you knocked on the door of Jane Fonda back then when you first started.
Yeah. And completely covered with paint. It just was and when she answered the door, I was like, what? Jane Fonda. I can't believe it.
So the second part is first, again, you've done so many things. What's something that you've never done that you've always wanted to do and you haven't done yet?
Well, I would like to write a book. And I haven't written a book. And
really?
I think about it. I think about all these experiences I've had. I've worked for 5 mayors, hopefully 6, knock on wood. And I just have
I'd buy the first copy.
Right? In so many dramas and overcoming obstacles.
You've got an unbelievable story to communicate.
Right. I think, yeah.
So what's the name of the book?
Oh, I don't know. But I have to think about that. I have to think about that. But, something about art, something about the power of art to overcome. But I think that it's been a consistent theme in my life about overcoming the sort of obstacles that are there. And then the rewards have been so amazing. It's really been, I feel very privileged and honored to do this job. I really do. And I'm so grateful to the citizens of the city who for so many years have been the heartbeat of mural arts. Yeah,
well, we're grateful that you're as persistent and you've done it. You're a treasure.
Thank you.
I want to get back to this book because have you written one word yet? Have you put anything on?
No. I've just thought about it. And people are like, oh, you should write a book. And I'm like, I should. So I haven't, but I think that I should because it would also be filled with really interesting people. Will I? I don't know how. I just don't never have time. So then I thought, well, maybe I should talk to a ghostwriter. Like, I think that there are ways to do this.
Yes,
Because
there are.
I can't, like, I think, like, I'm an okay writer. I'm not a great writer. So, but I think that someone could, like, help me.
It's funny that I'm a first-time author, as you know,
Yes.
and in doing it, I've attracted a number of people that have wanted to write books. Yesterday, I was on the phone and communicating with somebody that was referred to me that wants to write a book. They've already started a few things. They needed the encouragement. They needed how to. I've had so many of those conversations in the last year. It's amazing to me. And I don't know if there's one that I would rather hear from and hear their story than yours. You have to write this book.
Okay. Well, this is good.
Please,
This is
please,
confidence
please
building.
commit to my audience that you're going to write this book. You're going to do this first. Because I know you. If I get you on a journey and then you get it committed and you see the
gonna do
vision, you're going to do it.
I am.
I just sense you. And you have to commit.
And think about it. It's like, because it's politics, it's
Yes.
art,
Yeah,
it's humanity, it's Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. And it's a
Very
positive
dramatic.
and it's positive. It's a positive story
That's
with
right.
a lot of lessons that people can learn.
That's right. And in the end, there's triumph. And
Yes.
right, there really is. That you
Yeah.
can really see. I think that is the wonder of this work, that in spite of seeing complications, there is a huge hunger for beauty in our world. And there is sort of this wonderful sense of faith and resilience out there that it's like the hope that I see makes me eternally hopeful.
Yeah. So I'm persistent too. I'm going to put it in my to-do list, and somewhere in your future, whether it's 3 months from now, 6 months from now, I'm going to be asking, did you write a page yet? Did you start your book? And I'm going to try to inspire you to write that book.
Okay, well, thank you. And I might be just setting up a time to have coffee with you and get some advice.
Okay. I'm going to send you an email of what I just sent to somebody else just to get them started.
Okay.
Just to get your thought process
Yeah.
around it. Well, first of all, I had to self-publish. You won't have to. People will want to publish your book.
Really? You think?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That would be exciting.
And it's another way for you to communicate your mission. It's a side benefit of writing the book. And it's another way to tell your story. It's another way for you to promote mural arts and help you with your vision of mural arts.
That's true. That's right. That's a really good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to. You have to.
I've got so many
I
ideas in my head.
I never anticipate that answer. I did not anticipate that answer.
Yeah. Well, like as soon as you asked the question, that's exactly what popped in my mind, because it has been hovering around in the universe of my head for now a while.
Yeah, because I can pick, I only know from what you've told me and what I've read about you. I just can only imagine how many slices of that onion that you have that are so interesting.
Think about it, starting with a good administration, Rendell and Street,
Just a
Nutter,
story of the
Kenny,
Philadelphia politics that you could tell of how, and sometimes it's not easy. I love Philadelphia, but sometimes it's not easy to navigate those paths to get what you have accomplished. I mean, there's a lot of different landmines that you've got to step over and through.
That's right. That's right. And our challenge over the years is always like making allies, figuring out like friends in city government, where's the support. And also, I feel like Mural Arts and I feel from the very beginning, we were on a mission to make sure that elected officials saw us as being relevant and useful to Philadelphia, so that in the end, they became, and they are, our champions.
Is it getting easier or harder to make that?
I think it's getting easier to make the case.
Because you've got such a resume.
But it's very hard around funding, I think.
Because of funding.
Yeah. But yeah. So if I could turn the love of mural arts into money, we'd have an endowment. but it's, it's sort of this, is that
a goal to get an endowment?
I would like in my heart to have a cash reserve for restoration, because we have an iconic collection of work in this city that we need to preserve. And it's like, it distinguishes us from cities all over the world. And if I were the head of the Philadelphia Museum of Art, I'd concern myself with that collection. Well, we are the stewards of the outdoor collection that is Philadelphia, and we want to protect it.
So how many years is a mural good for?
Well, if the building is structurally sound, it can last 15, 20, 25. There's the mural at the Black Family Reunion mural is at 40th and Parkside. Was painted in 88. So, and it looks pretty good. So it really depends. It depends if they're south facing, they get battered by the sun a little more. North facing, much better. Sometimes the enemy for us is old architecture, and you don't know if there are leaks in the roof
cracks
and cracks. So we have an operations crew. We do repair. We stucco. We're like the all.
So it's more than just being an artist.
Oh my goodness, it's everything. That's right. Pictures. That's right. We have teaching artists on staff. We have social workers, job developers. We have a crew. We have an operations team. Yeah, it's
the other thing that fascinated me when I had my mural done is I pictured, okay, fine, you trace it and somebody's out there painting. You came out with panels.
Yeah, that's right.
That were painted in the studio.
That's exactly right.
And plastered it onto the wall.
That's right.
And it became part of the wall.
That's right. It becomes very part of the fabric of the wall. Now, the reason we do that is because we can work all the time. We can work,
right. You don't have to worry about the weather.
Right. And the other thing is, remember, we're working with a million different constituents. We're working with seniors. We're working with kids. We're working with people in hospitals, at senior centers, in jails. Like you name it, we're working with.
You can't have them on that wall, on that ladder.
Exactly. But this makes the process very inclusive. Once it goes up, as you saw with yours, David McShane and his talented team, they embellish the work so it looks like one person did it. If you go by 11th and Thompson, you'll see a mural that's a tribute to the Pope's visit here.
Yeah.
And for that, 7,000 people worked on it. It's actually in the Guinness Book of World Records. They
really?
Came down with confetti and a bell. Yes, it is. And we worked...
For the most people to work on a mural?
Yes, we worked at 19th parishes and we worked at the convention center. It was unbelievable. But you look at that mural, it's stunning. And it looks like
That's
Cesar
a lot
Rivera's
of coordination,
created.
Isn't it?
It certainly is. Oh, yeah, it's like directing a film, these big projects.
You have to.
Yeah. My husband's a filmmaker. He always draws.
You got somebody painting over
similarities.
here, somebody painting over here.
Oh, yeah. Think about it. It's structural. It's the community process. It's aesthetics. It's all those things. It's not for the faint of heart, but in the end, it's so inspiring.
Wow. I did not. You're just so full of surprises. I love it. I love it. So
thank you.
Out of my audience, other than funding and support, how can they support you?
Well, I would say for people listening, if you live in Philadelphia, tell your elected officials that this matters. Quality of life matters. When we're doing projects, it uplifts the heart and soul of our city, and that's important. All the programmatic work we do, that's important. We're working with literally 25,000 constituents every single year with like the little engine that could. Also, if you want to volunteer, go to our website, find out.
How do we volunteer?
You could just go to our website. You could become a docent in our tour program, although there you do get paid a stipend. But we were looking for new docents, so please sign up. Help us with paint days. When we're out there in the community working with hundreds of people, we always love volunteers, and it's so inspiring. It's just super fun work. When we have our Eagles Paint Day, we always we need some volunteers just to check people in, or some of our other events, we need people to man a table. So, we don't have a huge volunteer program, but, there are some opportunities for people to get involved. So there's funding, there's just spreading the word about good work. There is being connected to, we have a Young Friends organization, we have a board, there are different ways in, or you can just volunteer at our special events. And we have 1 million events every year.
What's the biggest event that you throw?
Well, Wall Ball is our big annual fundraiser. So that is super fun. We make sure it's fun. It's not a stuffy, boring event. So it's fun, and we're always really excited about that. October is Mural Arts Month. Yay! So we always do a lot. And then we're going into our 40th anniversary year as anti-graffiti and mural arts starting in 2024. So we'll have a lot of special things going on then too. So those are some just fun things during the year.
So if you can volunteer, help, support, Jane's giving you a number of different menu items that you can do to do that. You're contributing to Philadelphia. And Jane, I am so thrilled. And thank you. And you did not disappoint. You're fabulous.
Oh,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to see you. I love being on the podcast with you, and I can't wait to do another mural project with you. So my fingers are crossed.
And I want to do another first. I've never volunteered for the Mural Arts. I'm going to go online, and I'm going to be a volunteer.
Yay!
What's the website?
Muralarts.org.
Muralarts.org. All right? MURALARTS.org.
And social media is at Mural Arts.
At Mural Arts. So thank you very much, Jane. I appreciate it.
Thank you.